Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
What is going on and how you guys all doing tonight? This is the Club of the Man 1993 and this is my live WWE Money in the Bank 2025 preview and predictions. Takes place this coming Saturday, June 7th, 2025 at the Intuit Dome. I believe it's the Intuit Dome, right? Intuit Arena, Intuit something, Intuit TurboTax, whatever you want to call it. Take place there in Los Angeles, California. We're going to talk about the two Money in the Bank ladder matches. We're going to talk about the two non-Money in the Bank ladder matches. Yes, right. Like Royal Rumble, there's only 4 matches on this card. Kind of a little surprise. Rumble, I understood because the Rumble matches are long. Money in the Bank ladder matches, though, are mainly 30 minutes? Maybe Triple H might make it 30, 45 minutes. It's not all matches, of course, need to be super long like that, though. There's only just 6 wrestlers involved in the matches. So we'll see how this goes. Or we'll see also if he does add a 5th match on SmackDown tomorrow. What that'll be, I don't know. We will have to, of course, wait and see what that is. If they do decide to add a 5th one or not. But for now, we have 4 matches on the card. It should be an interesting show. The ladder matches, so to be honest, a lot of people have been talking this year about the fact that they feel like the Money in the Bank concept has gotten a little bit old. Or it's not as, cool as it used to be anymore. Maybe it might be a little bit burned out from it. I don't know. For me, I'm kind of 50-50 about it. Because I do see some interesting outcomes for these ladder matches. But I kind of agree also that something is just missing from the excitement for the Money in the Bank contract this year. It just might be something that we may just need to take a break from. We don't have to do it every single year. We don't have to do King of the Ring all the time. We don't have to do War Games all the time. We don't have to do, Rumble's one we have to do all the time. I don't know. We don't have to do a champion versus champion crown jewel championship every single year for crying out loud. Those kind of lost its luster. I don't know. It's you don't have to do it all the time. And I'm starting to feel Money in the Bank may be slotting into that category. But on the plus side, there are still some people on this card that I think that can benefit from winning the Money in the Bank ladder match on Saturday. So we are going to talk about them. We'll talk about, of course, first the 2 non-ladder matches, and then we'll talk about the ladder matches last. I will go through, in the order of, from least likely, from my number 6 to my number 1 pick for each of the ladder matches. And we will, of course, roll from there. So before we start, as always, let's check out our friends in the live chat. See what we got here. And we got just Tyler saying, hey, Mike, Money in the Bank needs to go. What is the point of this event? It's like King of the Ring pointless. Some people, I feel last year was the first year King of the Ring actually had a little more meaning to it. Even though, of course, they didn't wear the crown afterwards. It was more like just a number 1 contenders tournament. But yeah, King of the Ring doesn't have to happen every single year. And again, Money in the Bank might just be coming the same thing. Have there been some swings and misses the past, like, decade or so with the briefcase? Yeah, I'm not going to lie, there's been some. But there still have been many good ones as well. Just don't waste it like you did on Drew McIntyre last year. I mean, I get it, what they did with Drew last year, but I feel like you could have used it for something a little bit bigger than that. Just my opinion, honestly. Did you hear that Triple H hates Money in the Bank? I did not, actually. So maybe if he doesn't like Money in the Bank, maybe this will be something that doesn't happen every single year. Well, we all know it's happening next year, because New Orleans is now getting Money in the Bank instead of WrestleMania 42. But Money in the Bank next year is not until the end of August. So, I don't know, maybe like putting it at like a different time of the year also could help as well to make things a little bit more interesting. Or, honestly, you could do it at WrestleMania at some point again as well. Maybe, who knows? He also said 2019 should have been the end of Money in the Bank. Oh, yeah, the one where Brock Lesnar won it? Oh, God. Oh, man, that one. Don't remind me of that. Yeah, I was not entertained by Boombox Brock. Although, the funny thing is, like if it was someone else doing that, I would have probably loved it. But the fact that it was Brock, it's like, Brock doesn't need the freaking contract. Like, you just based another one that they just wasted it on, putting the briefcase on Brock Lesnar. That was literally a what the fuck moment. And honestly, again, because I was even more mad because I wanted Sami Zayn to win the briefcase that year. But of course, they had to have it, hang upside down from the steel, and then just for Brock to come in to replace him right at the end of the match when Ali was about to win it. Remember how he was like stood there like an idiot for like a good 30 seconds, but when he had plenty of time to grab the briefcase and just run from the beast. But, you know, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to move on to better things. So yeah, thanks a lot, Brock Lesnar, Tyler said. Oh man. Hey, could have been worse, Tyler. Could have been your old pal, Horseface winning the women's one. Randy did not need it in 2013, although, of course, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have been a wrestling fan. And John Cena did not need it in 2012. Yeah, Cena winning it in 2012 was kind of a waste also as well, I'll be honest. And heck, Braun Strowman winning it in 2018, I will say, was also a complete waste as well, too. They just used that as a ploy to help get Roman Reigns over as a babyface. And it did not work at all. But Tyler, thank you as always for your comments in the live chat. Hopefully more people do join, but we are going to get rolling and get started because I do have some TV to catch up on, but I do want to get this quality preview in tonight as well. So like I said, if I'm predicting the actual match order, I would say we'll open with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, and then the women's Intercontinental title match, and then the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. And I'm pretty sure we're main eventing with the tag match with John Cena and Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. That'll probably main event the show. So let's talk about the non-Money in the Bank matches first. So we'll start with the first one I think is going to happen. And that is the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch. This is their second match for the Women's IC title. Their first one at Backlash was outstanding. To my surprise, Lyra came away with the victory. I really thought they were going to have Becky win it there. This time, though, the stipulation was if Lyra wins, Becky can no longer challenge for the Women's IC title as long as Lyra's champion. But if Becky wins, Lyra must raise her arm, just like Becky did when Lyra beat her for the NXT Women's Championship. So, first off, if you remember also, I had a hell of a time trying to predict this card whenever I was making my card predictions. And I basically threw it together last minute. Surprisingly, for it being up for like a week and a half, it's got 500 views. And very last minute. And actually, well, obviously, you know, there's two extra matches two matches that definitely aren't going to happen. Of course, you know, I only got just a handful correct. And And for the ladder matches, I got 5 of the 6 people correct as well in those matches as well too. So that's a plus there. But I thought they would save this match for Evolution, but I guess not. I don't know if they're going to have Becky. At some point they're probably going to have Becky and Bayley, whether it has the title or not in it. I still think Becky Lynch should win the title, if I'm being honest. I know Becky versus Bayley doesn't really need the title, but I do feel like this women's mid-card title could benefit from being in a feud with Bayley and Becky Lynch, because there is a legitimate story there, and I still think that's a story that Bayley needed as a babyface, kind of like her redeeming herself from her flaws when she was a heel. And that's kind of like what Becky targeted when she took out Bayley before the WrestleMania tag match. And Lyra, again, Lyra Valkyria is awesome. I think she's amazing in the ring. I've been a fan of her since she was in NXT UK. But she still needs work character-wise. Her promos, they're hit or miss recently. Some have been better. Some have been, like, you can tell she's not comfortable on the mic completely. I did feel like the promo she had this past week on Raw, personally, I thought was a little bit better than the week before. But you can tell she's still trying to get comfortable on the microphone. Becky obviously is trying to help her the best she can. But you can also tell that WWE really is putting a lot of stock in on Lyra Valkyria. They really want to get her to work. Which, again, I'm not opposed to. Just give it a little more time. But I still think Becky needs to win the women's IC title. I do think I know the only way I think Becky's not winning this match this time is if Bayley returns. But I still personally think the title needs the Becky and Bayley feud, personally. So I'm still going to stick with Becky. I think Becky Lynch will win the women's IC title and dethrone Lyra Valkyria. And Lyra can always win it back at some point. But right now, especially with a hot feud like Bayley and Becky coming up, I think it would benefit by throwing that title in there. So Becky wins the women's IC title. The main event is probably going to be the tag match with John Cena and Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. My only criticism for this match is I wish they would have added a stipulation to it. Make it like a tornado tag match. I do think there should be a little bit more layers though to this story here. I already talked about my thoughts on John Cena as a heel this year in a separate video. Go back and watch that. Him teaming up with Logan Paul is interesting. Besides the fact that Logan is cleaning the Peacemaker, as or whatever it was he called on SmackDown last week. Also interesting the fact that John Cena again is planning on ruining wrestling, and just that promo he had on Jey Uso at Saturday Night's Main Event, where he teased the idea of having a YouTuber be world champion. I'm like, surprisingly, that was the first time I said, you know what? If that is like the wrinkle in the story to get Logan Paul a world title, I'll accept that. Again, I know I do not like Logan Paul personally, but I think he is a great talent. I understand why WWE would want to make him a world champion. And if that's like him being like the ploy in that story, I'll accept him winning the world title. It's the world title then. So I feel like this is going to set up something like another match between Jay and Logan at some point. So I'm going to go with Cena and Logan Paul winning this match. I think they are the ones that should win this. At some point, we are going to get Cody versus Cena again. I think that'll probably either happen at Night of Champions, SummerSlam, even though I'd rather it be CM Punk versus John Cena at SummerSlam, or Saturday Night's Main Event in December. Because I still think there is a chance that Cody wrote. I still think Cody is most likely going to be Cena's last match, and he is going to take the belt off of Cena. Or, as I pitched before, they could do a thing where Jey Uso is the one to eventually dethrone John Cena. John will help Logan Paul get the world title off of Jey Uso on Logan Paul, and Jey could go after John wanting to get his revenge, because that's a match I've wanted to see since they were the final two in the Rumble. But it is what it is. We'll have to wait and see. So those are my quick thoughts on the two non-title matches. Okay, a quick swig of my drink here. Really quick. All right. Let's check over also the live chat. And see what we got here. We have Tyler in the live chat still saying Theory was a joke as Mr. Money in the Bank in 2022. He did not cash in on the world title. So for Austin Theory, that was like I mentioned it before back in 2022. There was just some awkward situations that Triple H was obviously trying to make things continuous and make it make sense. There's some things that he just couldn't save. Like Liv Morgan went with the SmackDown Women's title at the time, and Austin Theory is Mr. Money in the Bank. Austin Theory was not ready to be world champion at all. And the story they told with him going after the U.S. title, since Roman Reigns is never there, I understood why they did that way. Even though it was still confusing because everyone's dynamics was going up and down, and that. So I would still say the way they did it to kind of cancel it out was the safest way to go. Was it kind of a waste? Yeah, I'm not going to lie, it was. But I don't, like I said, that's something that Triple H just couldn't fix. So that's an honest opinion on there. Just call in your house Money in the Bank. This is not a big event at all. Maybe, we'll see. And we got Nathan Dodson. Does Marge ever leave Homer permanently? I don't watch The Simpsons all the time, so I don't know, but who knows. But thank you guys for your thoughts in the live chat. Let's talk about the Money in the Bank ladder matches now. So, we'll do the women first. So for the women from Raw, we've got Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, and Stephanie Vaquer. And from SmackDown, we have Alexa Bliss, Giulia, and Naomi. First, to go back also to Becky Lynch. If Becky Lynch does win, I still think she should debut a stable. Because I think there was a tease of her forming a stable, kind of being what Seth Rollins is doing, except with the females. Who would be in her stable? Honestly, when they first had Roxanne Perez and Giulia being a random duo for a few weeks before they had Giulia go to SmackDown and Roxanne stay on Raw, I thought it would have been them. But now that that's not happening, I don't know. You could pull a swerve and maybe have Lyra turn heel and just accept Becky as, her mentor, and that Becky's doing the right thing or something. But now I don't know who would be a stablemate for Becky Lynch. I still think she could also be the female Paul Heyman guy as well, but that's just random to throw out there. So this ladder match, there are some names. Well, I'll say this way: for the women in this match, I will accept. Two of them, no, they don't need the briefcase. Personally, if it was before this was picked out, I wanted Chelsea Green. I wanted Chelsea Green to win Miss Money in the Bank. I still think there was no reason for her to drop the women's U.S. title to Zelina Vega and not win it back. To me, even though it's that was kind of giving Zelina a little thank you award or whatnot for all she's done, in her recognition there, I still think Chelsea Green had a lot more mileage left with that women's U.S. title. And the only reason why I take the belt, to take the belt off of her was to move her on to bigger and better things, which could have been a women's world title. but she's not in this ladder match, which is a shame, because if she was, she would definitely been my number one pick from the get-go to win. But she's not. So the two that I don't want to see win, that doesn't need to win, is Rhea Ripley, for sure. She's just in there to add star power in there. She does not need to win the Money in the Bank briefcase. And Alexa Bliss. Alexa as well doesn't need to win it. I get it. She hasn't won a women's singles title since 2018. But she doesn't, this isn't her time. This isn't her moment right here. She's in there again also for the star power. So I don't think either one of those two, they don't need to win it. If I could pick a number four pick, it would be Giulia. Only because she's teasing going after Zelina Vega for the women's U.S. title. I mean, her getting the briefcase would be different, but I think she is not one of the likeliest to win. My number 3 pick is definitely Stephanie Vaquer. I think, she, with her veteran experience and her already being like above a level of like a lot of other women's wrestlers. Like, I'm sorry, her qualifying match she had this week with Liv and Ivy, you could tell she was a lot more experienced than Liv and Ivy in that match combined, unfortunately. But she is awesome. I do think that she doesn't really need the briefcase, but, well, right now at least, but it'd be interesting to see her kind of have it kind of like that rising star, like, hey, I'm a threat and I can cash in whenever I want on any of you. So that'd be an interesting pick to win as well. My number 2 pick is Roxanne Perez. I feel like she's like the dark horse of this match. Because although I feel like, she probably doesn't need it as much as somebody else, I do think she could do interesting things with that briefcase if she would win it in this match. Especially right now with what's going on with her obviously being Finn's little sidekick to help destroy Dominic Mysterio to get revenge on him. That's why he pulled in Roxanne Perez. She ain't giving Dom those chicken nuggets just to be nice, even though Dom, I thought, like tendies. But yeah, so I think she also would be an interesting pick to win. She's my number 2. But out of all 6 of these women, Naomi the most. I want Naomi out of all 6 of these women to win the Money in the Bank ladder match. She, again, I don't think they expected to get as much out of this heel character as they are getting. Yes, I still want to believe that there is more to the story with, there's more to the story, and I still think Bianca Belair was also involved with that attack on Jade, and I think Jade even suspects it too. But, like I said, I feel like if you got someone that has momentum, you gotta call an audible and give it to them. And I think Naomi should be rewarded for the work she's done with this new Proceed with Caution gimmick. And I think she should win Money in the Bank. I think she is the best choice out of all 6 of these women to win it. What would be interesting is if Bianca would come back and win one of the other titles, Naomi wins the other one on the same night maybe, and both of them say, hey, we're planning on taking over the world, and we did just that, pretty much. So you could kind of roll with that story. But, yeah, out of all 6 of them, Naomi's my number 1 pick. So Naomi is my pick to win the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. If not Naomi, then my number 2 is Roxanne. My number 3 is Stephanie. Number 4 is Giulia. Number 5 would be Alexa Bliss. And Rhea Ripley is the one that I definitely, like, the least, the one that definitely does not need it the most out of all these women. She does not need the women's Money in the Bank briefcase. Yeah, she's just in there for the star power. And same with Alexa Bliss. And then we have the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. So this one's going to be a little bit trickier, if I'm being honest. So from Raw, we got Seth Rollins, Penta, and El Grande Americano. For SmackDown, we got Solo Sikoa, L.A. Knight, yeah, and Andrade. Now, first off, for my predicted match card, again, both these, I had 5 of the 6 correct. At first, I was going to do 8 of each, But I forgot last year they went back down to 6. And I originally, when it was 8, I originally had Stephanie Vaquer in there. But then when it got taken down to 6, realized it was only going to be 6, I took one of each from each brand out. And unfortunately, Stephanie was one, because I didn't think Stephanie was going to get called up when she did. Like, her dropping the title to JC Jane, as Gigi Dolan would say, was definitely a shocker. Also, Mariah May is in NXT also as well. She debuted on Tuesday night. But yeah, I thought the 6th one was going to be Kiana James. I know she hasn't been back yet, but I've heard rumors she is close to returning, and WWE apparently is very high on her. So I thought they would throw her into this ladder match if she did come back in time, but she didn't. For the men, I had 5 of the 6 correct as well. The only one I didn't have correct is I thought Carmelo Hayes was going to get into this match and not LA Knight. With him and the Melo Don't Miz storyline, and him just winning Andre the Giant recently, that could have been an interesting thing having Melo get the briefcase. But he's not in it, LA Knight's in it instead. So for the men, there really isn't anyone that I don't want to win it like the women. I'd be fine with any of these 6 men winning it. But if I had to pick an order of, least likeliest to likeliest, my number 6 would be Andrade. I love Andrade, but I don't think he's winning. I don't see him winning this, unfortunately. He's just in there for a 6th body and to have, some good spots in there and have another babyface in there. If he was a heel, I would say he had a bigger chance of winning. I still think, personally, this is my opinion, Andrade is meant to be a heel. I think as a babyface, he puts on great matches, yes, but I feel like character-wise, he is much better as a heel. Just watch his run again with Zelina Vega as his manager, and when he got the NXT Championship, and then we'll be talking. My number 5, I would probably say LA Knight. I know a lot of people are thinking he's a good candidate to win, because I know sometimes they have that mindset like, well, they don't want to have like a baby face. Well, you don't want to have like 2 similar heels win the briefcase, because that's what happened in 2010. It was whenever Del Rio won Raw, and then SmackDown was going to have Wade Barrett win theirs, but then they were afraid, well, it's too similar, so that's when they gave it to Bryan instead. But everybody's saying this is LA Knight's 3rd Money in the Bank ladder match. He should win it. I don't see it. I mean, I'd be fine with it if he did, but I don't see it. He should have won it 2 years ago. That's when 2 years ago when Damian Priest won it. I would have given it to him then. But I think the reason why they didn't give it to him then is because at the time, that's when Vince was around. When Vince was around, he definitely would. If Vince had full power that year, Logan Paul would have won Money in the Bank the year Damian Priest won. But I'm pretty sure they won at LA Knight. We won at LA Knight, but I'm pretty sure Damian Priest is kind of like a, 50-50 like decision, basically, just to like make everybody happy, basically. But yeah, I don't see him winning this one. Number 3 and 4, I'm kind of stuck. It's kind of a tie between Penta and Solo Sikoa. Penta would be cool to win it, but I just don't see it. I don't see it for Penta yet. Maybe someday. As a heel, maybe, yes. But right now, he still feels like he's in that, attraction stage where it's like, he's like a new toy and everybody's enjoying him. But I feel like, he hasn't done a deep character work yet. So not Penta. Solo Sikoa. Now, Solo winning could be interesting because of his feud with Jacob Fatu and him maybe trying to one-up Jacob and try to get to a world title eventually. But I feel like that would have worked better last year if he would have won Money in the Bank last year. This year, because of how they just... I don't know what they were trying to do with Solo, but again, character work, it was working, but just in the ring, it wasn't adding up. So, I still think it would be interesting to see him win it, especially with, what's going on with him and Jacob right now. But at the same time, it's like, is he going to cash in on John Cena as a heel? I doubt it. I don't think him going to Raw to cash in on Jay, maybe, but even so, it's like, does anybody want to see Solo win the world title right now? Again, if it was a year ago, maybe. But now, I don't know. So, I'll say Penta and Solo are tied for third. So, it was tough. Because it was between two people all the way for me. I would still say the safest pick is Seth Rollins. Because of his heel character. And like you said, he's basically doing what he was doing with the Monday Night Messiah gimmick, just under Triple H. And with two different guys. With Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. I like this idea how, he thinks he's got full control over everything in the company. Him having the briefcase would also make that more interesting. He could be very manipulative and, of course, cash in whenever. Right now, I feel like that it's just way too obvious that if he does get a clean shot at Jay, he already did get one shot and it didn't work out. But if he ever got a clean shot at Jay, he would probably win it. I'm pretty sure by WrestleMania next year, Seth Rollins will be World Heavyweight Champion. And I still think the long-term match due for WrestleMania next year is him and Sami Zayn. Based off of how they teased, when they had that week where Sami was offered to go to SmackDown and bow out, but he said, no, not happening. But the reason why Seth's my number 2 is for two reasons. One, he doesn't have to be Mr. Money in the Bank. He's done it already. Again, this heel role he's doing now, he doesn't have to do it. But he's doing it to help get over other talent. But I still feel like he'd be a way too obvious pick for number 1. So that's why he's my number 2. I really want to see them give it to El Grande Americano. That's right. Chad Gable, El Grande Americano is my number 1 pick to win the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. It's interesting because, again, first off, they had him wrestle as Chad Gable in a qualifying match, and he lost. But then he wrestled as El Grande Americano, and he seems to continue to win. The whole story is that he's El Grande Americano because it helps him be able to beat the Luchadors. That's why he went on this quest in the beginning, because he wasn't able to beat the Luchadors as just Chad Gable. And I know right now it still kind of feels like a mid-card act a little bit, but if you really want to sink your teeth deeper into this, giving him Money in the Bank wouldn't be a bad idea. Again, Chad Gable, since he turned heel last year, has been one of the most underrated things for sure in the company. I think they should have given him the IC title last year when he feuded with Sammy, because that character was working so great. Even though, of course, him losing led to the fallout with him and Alpha Academy. I will still say it doesn't make sense that he's okay with American Made. He told them to win titles before he came back from his sabbatical when he went to go get the mask for El Grande Americano. That doesn't make sense to me, but I still think it would be something to give him the briefcase. I think he's the most interesting of the 6 to win. Like I said, Seth Rollins is the safe pick. But again, he doesn't really need the briefcase, and he doesn't really need to do what he's doing right now. But he's doing to help get the younger talent over. But El Grande Americano, I think, is the interesting pick. I think he should win the men's Money in the Bank briefcase. And who knows who he'll cash in on. He could cash in on Jay. I don't think he'll cash in on Cena, but who knows. Maybe he'll cash in on one of the Luchadors if they win a title. I don't know. But, yeah. El Grande Americano is my pick to win the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. So I got him winning the men's. I got Naomi winning the women's. Becky Lynch will defeat Lyra Valkyria for the women's IC title. And John Cena and Logan Paul will win in the main event tag match. I wish it was a tornado tag. It's all heels, dang. But, oh well, it's people who I think, are, it's the right call to make, in my opinion, for all 4 of those matches. Let's check the live chat, then we're going to get off the air here. Let's go here. I think we were at Tyler saying Sandow was another joke as Mr. Money in the Bank 2013. Lost his cash in on Raw after Hell in a Cell. I still remember that. It wasn't a mistake to give it to him. It's just the way they booked him. But he was a great choice for Money in the Bank. Baron Corbin was a dumpster fire winner. Baron Corbin, I actually wanted to win that year. I was glad he won it, but yeah, they fumbled him as well. Well, also, apparently he had some heat because of some comments he made during like a concussions meeting or something like that too. But who knows? Liberty needs to drop the women's IC, US, and tag titles. The tag titles, yes. The mid-card titles, for now, they still have some luster, I feel, in my opinion. Yeah, it was 2011, not 2010, with the one I was talking about before with Del Rio and Barrett. My bad. Thanks for correcting me, Tyler. And both ladder matches are going to suck. I wouldn't say they're going to suck. I don't see them being like one of the best ones of all time, but they'll be interesting, I think, for sure. By the way, as of now, I'm going to be watching Money in the Bank with Daniel Gaiza on Saturday. We plan on doing live reactions during the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. So we will be there live for that, doing that as well. And that's going to do it. Thank you, Tyler and Nathan Dotson, for participating in the live chat tonight. And again, to go over my picks again, Becky wins the women's IC title. John Cena and Logan Paul win the tag match. Naomi wins the women's Money in the Bank. And El Grande Americano wins the men's. But we could get surprised. We'll have to wait and see. I also think the reason why Seth could lose is because I do think they're going to have... I think Roman's going to make his return and interfere in the match. But that's neither here or there. Not anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them. Sam, I am. I had to quote a little green eggs and ham for a second. But yeah. That's my thoughts on Money in the Bank. Again, thank you again, Tyler and Nathan, for joining us live in the live chat. After you guys watch this video, what are your guys' thoughts on my predictions? What are your predictions? And also, do you think they'll add a fifth match on SmackDown tomorrow night? We'll have to wait and see. Leave your guys' thoughts down in the comments section below. Slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter as well, The Club of the Man 93. You can also follow me on TikTok and on Instagram, The Club of the Man 1993. And until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you all later. Have a great rest of your night. And do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!